Let's get the vibe right. Welcome to the show. Bison Spotlight. Chip and B Smooth, bringing heat to your ears. He washing the mix, facing down all fears. From the court to the crowd where the legends are born. Howard University, we're breaking the norm. Bison Nation stands strong through thick and thin. Basketball vibes, it's more than a win. Every dribble, every shot, it's a story to tell. Ray of excellence, we ringing the bell. Chip Washington's the name, self-proclaimed fanatic. In the heart of the game, his passion's emphatic. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are. Come on, let's ride with the Bison crew. Passion and pride in everything we do. Hoops and dreams, we're reaching for the stars. Bison Brothers Podcast is who we are.
Welcome to the Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast, your number one home for all things Bison basketball. My name is Chip Washington, the self-appointed Bison basketball fanatic.
What's up, Bison family? It's your boy B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard and the lover of all things basketball. What's going on tonight? E, what's up, baby?
Hey, you know, this E-Wash and the NFL ain't the only people having a wild card weekend.
This is true. We're definitely, for those that follow the show, we're in the midst of MEAC play now. So it's no longer the pregame, it's the game. We're in the game right now. So I know we have another exciting show for you. Thank you for rocking with us. As you know, we'll get into some recaps here shortly. We'll do some over/under reactions, and we'll also talk about what we're looking forward to. It's early in the season, but we got some things to talk about and figure out. So before we jump too far into it, Chip, why don't you let people know why we do what we do?
Bison Nation, we're going to say it over and over. We are here because we want you, the millions of you, Bison Nation, to support these championship teams. And you can do that in so many ways. You could donate to the MEAC Society. That is the team's name, image, and likeness collective. You could do that by going to the MEACsociety.org. You can also donate through the Bison Express Booster Club at hubison.com. And you can donate through FanStake at fanstake.com using the code MECA25. And please continue going to the games. We're in conference play, so we're in the MEAC venue. So if they're close to you, please go to the games. We're going to recap the University of Maryland Eastern Shore game, and I saw their fans in their place giving us the business. So if you're near the Burr and they're coming, go to the Burr so we can give these folks the business. And as always, please continue to tell everyone about this podcast. This is your podcast, Bison Nation, and you can hear us on so many platforms. You can hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can interact with us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. So do all those things. We love you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we're going to get into this show today for you.
Let's do it. You guys ready? It feels like you all a little melancholy, like you all are waiting for something big to happen. I think we're the change we're waiting for. That's Barack Obama. That's Chicago right there.
Okay.
You like that one?
Yeah. You know, I was trying to kind of hold back, but you know, you bearing down. See, I was
yeah. I had to unleash the energy. You were pent up. So we're gonna get it here. So after the quick break, we're gonna get right into these recaps, man. We're excited about bringing you some quick updates here. So right after the break here. All right, welcome back to the show. It's your boy B Smooth. I got Chip Washington and E-Wash. Still the one who's all about what's good for basketball. And we're going to jump right into it today because we're in MEAC play. It's early, so we want to make sure we keep this thing rolling. I'm going to bring up the first game because we had 3 games to cover today. And as we jump into it, we'll start with the good news because I like good news, bad news, Chip. You know that?
Yes.
We actually got a chance to see why our Howard Lady Bison were ranked preseason #1 by them facing Delaware State at the Burr last Thursday, January 8th. As you can see, the results of the game was we won 73-63. Both Zoe Stewart and Zennia Thomas basically dropped 14 points apiece. And we shot 51% from the field, which is basically making it one of the most efficient nights that we've seen since the team has been on the floor. And I like to call it, Chip, you'll like this one.
All right.
Not the Nile factor. Nile Miller. She didn't lead us in scoring, but the Nile factor was that she filled up the stat sheet with 8 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. She's my perennial favorite now. I can't say she's my MVP because we got some other folks that are being vying for that because they look at maybe scoring more than anything else. But she, in fact, is the glue. She's absolutely the glue to this team. So really good win, really solid win. It got us really excited about how things worked after a very squeaky win in South Carolina State in Orangeburg just a few days ago. So, Chip, Ewash, anything else you saw in this game that gets our Bison fans excited about our play?
To me, it was just the way that we outlasted Delaware State. They I'd say up until through the halftime, they came out, they get us 20-15 in the first quarter, and pretty close by halftime. And I thought they had energy, but it was like they ran out of gas almost, because that third quarter, we came in, we put it on them, defense, stepped up the defense, and just the quality of our depth, I think, just outlasted what Delaware State could throw at us. But I got to give props to, I think it was Maya Scott. I always like to get to know those players when you might not be familiar with them, but because of the game, you're like, man, who is that? So to be a freshman, and didn't even start, props to her because she battled, especially against Ariella, kind of freshman to freshman PG battle. But yeah, I just thought our depth and execution kind of overwhelmed them from say like the third quarter on. I think we had a 15-point lead at one point in the third quarter. So yeah, just our depth, and we played like the #1 preseason team against Delaware State.
I love it. Ewash, anything from you, brother?
Well, to kind of piggyback on your good news, bad news thing, especially for this show, and given how wonderful our MEAC preview show was, I will now be deferring to you and Chip moving forward.
You mean to tell me that's all it took? That's all it took, Ewash, is for you to watch the video, bro? That's all?
This is getting smacked around 2 weeks in a row here. It's like, every win is a quality win now. I
love it.
Yeah, especially since we start out slow on this one. So, I will not only will I be deferring, I will be referencing Be Smooth talking points all throughout this episode.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. We'll both be in the doghouse now. Ewash, I appreciate you.
I'm like, whoa, but no, it's kind of, especially after the South Carolina weekend. And given the way this game started, I was glad they pulled it out. And so, yes, they looked like, as Chip like to say, they are who they think we are. To go with another wild card reference for the weekend, but I still don't like the slow start and the looking for the scoring to be a little more balanced still, and that's something about a lot. Be smooth. We need to spread some of that offense around, but not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. But yeah, those are my biggest takeaways there.
And I'm glad you said that, E. The question that was haunting me is I'm watching the game, trying to figure out, we're still trying to figure out this identity. We're starting to see some quality scoring from both Zennia and Zoe, and a little bit from some other people. But I was going to ask both of you, do you think we're relying on Zoe and Zennia too much for our primary scoring?
I would say, well, I don't know if it's too much. We're definitely relying on them. But right.
Is it too much if we win? Is it too much if we win?
Exactly. I wouldn't. I guess it's a close call. I mean, because they are bona fide scorers. You know, you kind of got to look up and down the lineup, and it's like, okay, where else are you going to get major scoring from? And so, you know, Ariella, maybe she's still kind of working out her role as the point guard / combo guard. April, you know, I don't know. Definitely a good 3-point shooter, but is she going to be a volume scorer? Sailor, Rain. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think as we are emerging, you know, Zoe and Zennia are kind of your main scorers, you know, at least from a kind of a double-digit scoring standpoint. So it's just kind of evolving into that. But I don't know if I would frame it as relying too much.
Where did Zoe come from? What school did she come from?
The most recent stop was Missouri State, I believe.
Okay.
She was at Murray State and then also Missouri State.
And then what school did Zennia come from?
Kentucky.
So
Chip's alma mater.
Right. But see how you didn't give him the business like you give me that Morehouse business. But we'll get back to that later.
Jokers are wild on Wild Card Weekend. Jokers are wild.
What that's making me think though, since we're talking about scoring, right? And you know, one of our kind of continuing threads that we weave throughout our mission and what we do is talking about, and again, this is a be smooth point, you know, the quality of play in the MEAC, right? So what just popped in my mind is, you know, Destiny went to Wisconsin, right, and is leading them in scoring.
Yep.
But these young ladies are coming from some of these other schools, and in some cases the scoring is a little down. So I'm like, again, there's some more at least anecdotal evidence that maybe the MEAC is a little tougher than everybody is giving it credit for, you know.
And I'll add this, being this might play into some of the later recaps, because I feel like we kind of bury in the lead in the fact that Dally Moreno started this game and she gave us, you know, 7 points, but she looked, you know, really comfortable in the starting lineup. So I think there's so many more players that can be unlocked from a scoring standpoint that it's still kind of early in the MEAC, and we may get that from some of these other players.
And to your point, B, I think that that's even more reason to look for it. You know, we need to be looking other places instead of just, you know, hey, well, this is who we leaning on, so to speak. And and we got the coaching staff to do it, you know. So, and that kind of takes me back to the player development thing. You know, we you know, even though it's in season, we got some lofty goals, and I don't think those goals are going to get accomplished being static in terms of how we're moving through these games.
You guys are teasing the audience here about what we're going to talk about next. This was the good news part. This is the good news part of the recap.
Right.
I'll bite-size it here. I think that, you know, I did mention that, you know, relying too heavily on two scorers, primarily because there seems to be some scouting going on where if you know the two people who are going to score the most and they can disrupt that, we still have long stretches where we're not scoring. So it's more about when they're not scoring and the ball's not in their hands, or they're not hitting shots they're accustomed to hitting, we feel it on the offensive end much quicker. So I do know that seeing them score together, it lets me know that when it's working, right? And that was what was cool about this Delaware State game. And I can tell you, we were all smiles on Thursday. I know I was all smiles on Thursday.
Yes.
But the vibes shifted quickly when we took a trip to Prince Anne, Maryland on the weekend. And so I'll call this part is it the Hitch or Heitch? What's the name of that center they play at? It's Heitch Heartbreak is what we'll call this. This is the Heitch Heartbreak. And so as the score indicates here, you don't see the big W next to our name. We actually dropped a very heartbreaking loss to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. 62-56 was the final score. We actually had a collapse in the fourth quarter where Howard was outscored 23-13, which means we had the lead in the fourth quarter. And not only did we lose the lead from scoring perspective, we were out rebounded 45-34 and basically made us very vulnerable to a lot of shots that they were making internally in the paint. And so that's not the headline. I don't want to bury the headline here. So Chip, it definitely was the stat that killed us was going 12 of 25 or 48% for those who are counting at home from the free throw line.
Yes.
We lost by 6 and missed 13 free throws. So you all do the quick math. I'm a School of Engineering graduate. Shout out to LKD, Lewis K. Downing. We lost because we didn't make free throws, but don't let us talk about it. Chip, why don't we hear from Coach Ty and maybe start with Zennia and say, what do they see?
All right. This is from our After the Buzzer show where they came on and talked a little bit post game. So here we go. This is Zennia. We'll bring Zennia Thomas, Z Payne, to the stage. Zennia, Slinky, welcome again. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So how we feeling after that tough loss? It looks like it was a back and forth game.
Not the best. I personally, wanted to take accountability for that because I missed a lot of free throws at the line. I was 5 for 13, so most of that is on me. Gotta be able to win at the line, especially knowing that a lot of teams, a lot of players are going to go after me. I'm going to get there. So this is about converting at the end of the day. And so I don't want to hang my head on it. I feel like the team, did a very good job, stepping up in their role, especially with the injuries that we had. People were out. I feel like a lot of people stepped up to the plate and handled business. We knew they were going to come out super aggressive, and that's just who they are. So I think everyone did a great job matching energy at the end of the day, and it's just about being able to, convert and finish, especially on my end. So, yeah, I'm very proud of the team and how they handled everything, and we just learn from it at the end of the day.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. She's the real deal. Zennia, her accountability makes her the leader that we've been looking for on the team, and she's grown into that leadership role both on and off the court. So it was good to hear her take accountability for her own performance, which she knew had a direct impact on the outcome of the game. But that was cool. And again, for those following on the show, this is Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. And one of our coolest features is Chip has an After the Buzzer segment, which is essentially the opportunity for us to have a post-game press release for our team. So when they want to come out and let people know what was happening, it's just a really good way to get insight into, parts of the program you don't get to experience. So thank you, Chip, for bringing that to the network, Bison Brothers Network.
Strong shade.
Indeed. And Coach Grace.
Yeah, you got a chance to talk to Coach Grace, right?
Yep. We can play a little snippet from her because she didn't duck the smoke either. So
let's hear it.
The free throw percentage was really low in this game. It seemed to be a well fought game, I would say, outside of that statistic. Just kind of get back in the lab and have people work on free throws, or what do you think?
It's something we do every day, right? But today they fall. It was horrific from the free throw line. Like it is what it is. You saw the stat line. You make all those free throws, you win the game. And we just didn't execute at the free throw line, and we talked about that. And so now we're back, and those of them that didn't make the free throws, they need to be shooting a lot more, and just being more efficient from the line, because they all it matters.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Horrific is what she said.
Right. Don't hold back.
Tell us what you really think, Coach Ty Grace.
And just for context and to kind of bring up what Ewash said earlier, at the MEAC preview, remember we both said like University of Maryland Eastern Shore that's the one to watch out for. And so even I think HBCU game day with Liv Antilla when they were previewing, Howard's the number 1 offense in the MEAC. Maryland Eastern Shore is the number 2 offense. So and neither one of us played our best game. So that's right. When they come to the Burr, the rematch is probably going to be just as good, if not better.
Yeah. Game was intense. It was it felt like a MEAC tournament game, right? They called like 2 or 3 fouls just off the tip because that's how intense everybody lined up. The jump ball was intense. And I was like, wow. Yes. It felt like I was watching the MEAC, playing for the final spot in the championship game. So quick question for you all both then, because there's another clip in After the Buzzer that you did with Ty Grace. She talks about the excellence of coaching that they're getting at University of Maryland Eastern Shore. And I just want to ask because, most of our games are doing pretty well. It's the last 4 minutes or so where it seems to still get away from us. Do we get out-coached in this game? Or was there a failure to execute the game plan? That's the question I have.
Now, again, to piggyback on the wild card weekend theme and the coaching and accountability. So as you know, even though this is not a basketball reference, I thought about when the announcers were kind of getting on or questioning the Phillies coach approach to when AJ Brown dropped a couple of balls and didn't catch them. They kind of kept going back and forth about, well, what is their relationship like? And as a player, would I really like that and this and that? And from what I see from Coach Ty, man, she not only knows her stuff and is accountable herself. I think that the clip that we showed is a reflection of that kind of coaching, that the player was willing to be accountable. So, I feel like, nah, man, I think it was them free throws, bottom line.
Ball don't lie is what they say. Eric.
Right.
Ball don't lie.
Don't lie. And here's another observation. when I looked at the box score for UMES, they only had 2 people in double figures as well. So
that's right.
That's right. I don't know.
I would say, I would say no.
could be an overreaction. I'm just asking questions. Because keep in mind, fellas, for those following along here, we lost the game. University of Maryland Eastern Shore was not predicted to be a top team this year because of what we thought we knew in the preseason. Mm-hmm. But they're now 3-0 in conference play. They're undefeated, and we're 2-1.
Wait. I said they would be a top team, so I just want to put that on the record. Yes. Yeah, we'll go back.
I had you in my notes be smooth to defer to, not Chip.
Oh, but I know. That's what I said. Let's let Chip hold over. Chip is in his own space right now. Let's see if he can come back with that. I missed that part on the After the Buzzer. I'll have to look that one up. Anybody can find that on After the Buzzer.
In the comments, everybody, y'all watch the MEAC preview show. You let us know if you remember that I said University of Maryland Eastern Shore was one of the top teams.
You did.
I'll double down on that. If you go there and can find where Chip said that they were going to be a top team, make sure you put a heart emoji in there because you got to show Chip some love. He's hurting right now. He's not in the majority, and it's a 3-person show. I'm just saying he's working hard. But I will ask the question though. I will ask the question since you are Nostradamus. You're Nostradamus over here, Chip.
Negro Damus.
Does the road to the championship now run through Prince Anne, Maryland, instead of DC?
I will say I do believe, like I said, I think in the preview show, 1 and 2 was going to be Howard and University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
You got him walking already, B.
Nope. Not at all.
I need some Judge Wapner receipts right now. I need to see some receipts.
They'll let us know. They'll let us know. No, I think it's going to be Maryland Eastern Shore and Howard at the end. So,
okay.
Yes.
So what you're saying is, as the biggest Bison fan there is, you're more of a Maryland Eastern Shore fan. That's what I took away from that.
No. I would say I'm right below because I appreciate their talent. I'm right below the Bison, but it's. Oh wait, I'm almost scared that I'm about to do this because I don't want to send him on a tangent.
We're in bizarro world now. He's me,
but it's kind of like it's kind of like how
one of the Washington brothers are going to take us on a tangent.
It's kind of like Wash's love for Larry Bird. You may not like him. You may not like him, but you respect Larry Bird's game. Same thing with Maryland Eastern Shore. As we were scouting them,
I go there. I actually, this is moved beyond respect. I love Larry Bird, and it sounds like you're loving UMES.
I am.
This is the equivalent. So, listeners, Bison Nation. If you ever want to know what it feels like to be caught in an alley-oop where somebody tosses one up and the other one dunks it on you, Chip and Ewash just did an alley-oop where they worked in Larry Bird to a show that has nothing to do with Larry Bird. It keeps coming up. I need to get him on the show. If we can get Larry Bird on the show, then I'll stop talking smack about Larry Bird.
Y'all work on that. I will work on that.
You work on that. But here's what we're going to do. We're gonna keep it moving because I don't want you to get caught out there. There's too much bulletin board material forming for you, Chip. I want you to be able to still have guests on after the buzzer. And if you love every other team as much as you do UMES, you might not get that many people to show up.
I do want to answer your question in terms of
please. I'm hoping
so. I don't think we were out coached, and kind of like Eric said, I think it was just the free throws because I thought that University of Maryland Eastern Shore was a great team. I was expecting a tight game. And I think had we hit our free throws, we would have won. And so, I don't think the coaching goes into it from a free throw standpoint. So that's my answer.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. As they like to say, I'm going to put a pin in that because when we come back to over and under reactions a little bit later in the show, I want to make sure I ask a question that follows what you all just said. So just so I'm clear, it was execution, not necessarily being out coached. That fair? Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Fair. All right, so let's keep it rolling because we got one more game to recap, and then we'll get into over and under reactions. This is where I want to have some fun with everybody. So I'm gonna pop up here. We had a double header in Prince Anne, and I told you it was the Heitch Heartbreak. So our ladies took their first loss of the season, but our men, they came into the season being the hunted. We were predicted to be second overall in MEAC play. But right now, we're the ones scrambling. We're 0-2. Winless. Winless in the MEAC. Yeah. After a double-digit loss to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore that we usually beat. We hadn't lost to them in so many years. I think there was a pandemic since the last time we lost to them, right? It's been a long time. But, now we're at a point where it's a new MEAC. It's a new team every year. We absolutely, from a score perspective, we lost 69-57. Outside of Travell Bryson, who scored 18 points, and Cedric Taylor III, who scored 14, our offense was non-existent. Mm-hmm. The rest of the team shot about 27%, which is not good. Somebody says, is that bad? It's not good.
Yeah. It's not good. We got 20% in the second half.
Oh, yeah. And our bench got outscored, and that's a sticking point for me. The bench got outscored 17-5. So University of Maryland Eastern Shore had 17 points from their bench. We had 5. And so if our starters aren't playing, we basically don't have any production. Right.
And I'm sorry, I need to correct. It was 20% on 3-pointers. And back to the free throw shooting, 55% on free throws in the second half also.
Non-existent is the word, right? We didn't score well when we had a free free shots at the basket and contested shots at the basket. So again, I want to hear from you because right now,
well, I guess the craziest thing to me was, in prepping for the show, I'm like, well, dang, man, I looked at the standings. We still have the best overall record in the standings, right? We're at the absolute bottom, to your point, in conference play, and we have the worst record on the road. So I'm like, dang, man, how it's like it's all over the place. I
didn't have this on my bingo card, the men losing to University of Maryland.
Right. Yeah. You did not. You had us doing pretty well, I believe. I believe we're still working with some old data when it comes to these teams, because just like us, they have a bunch of new players, and anytime you have new players that you haven't really seen before, you're bound to get surprised. And because we are ranked so high, I think we're going to get the best shot every time we go out the door. So we can't expect there to be Howard's rebuilding, let's take it easy on them. They're going to be like, nope. We're going to show you that we should be in the same conversation. We did say, I think you did say this, Chip, in our preview show, the MEAC is wide open, which means every matchup doesn't seem to be based on record. So EWASH, it doesn't matter that we have a higher, win-loss percentage based on the non-conference. It's every matchup is different. And now that we're in conference play, we know this is all about seeding for the tournament. Most of us are trying to play the least amount of games to get to the championship. And that means you got to be one of the top 2 or 3 seeds to even see that you don't play all week long. That becomes a really bad AAU tournament to have to play 3 or 4 games in a row. That's tough. But we're winless so far. So I am worried about where we can get our first win now that we're in this space. I know we get to close the gap with Delaware State later this upcoming week, but being 0-2, anything you guys are seeing from the game that you want to call out a little bit? Because the stats speak for themselves. Ball don't lie. We're not scoring. Travell had a wonderful game. I don't want to, that was our highlight there. He came out and kept us in the game really early, and and Cedric also played very well, given that he's just getting back from injury after being out most of the front half of the season. So, I saw some bright spots, but what else did you all see?
Well, my first, before I answer, I have to cop to some ignorance and figure out, is Alex Cotton on a milk carton? Where has he been?
Hey,
well played.
Yeah.
By that account, there's a whole string of milk cartons that we're looking for. Alex is not the only one. To be fair,
because I used to kind of say to myself, our 3-pointers are set up off of all of our cutting and backdoor and this and that, and he started out so strong, and then to see 20% from the 3-point land, and I'm like, dang, man, it seemed like all of our strengths are just disappearing. And I'm not going to pretend I even have an answer for it at this point.
Yeah. So kind of what I saw, so the lazy analysis is the 22 turnovers were, the most impactful. But when I took a deeper dive, we had 15 turnovers in the first half, but only 7 in the second half. And University of Maryland Eastern Shore actually had 13 turnovers in the second half, but only 5 in the first. So we were down at the half, but we made a run in the at the start of the second half, and we took the lead. So I'm like, okay, but basically it kind of what I saw was, like you said, to that shooting thing, we had our shooters, but they were missing key shots. First of all, we had bad turnovers, even though it was just 7 in the second half. Every time we tried to make a run or either take the lead or retake the lead, it was like, boom, turnover. And to ease basketball point that he's always said, I think we gave the defense, we let them off the hook because we settled for a lot of outside shots early in the shot clock, and we missed those shots. And so while we, this is in the last 4 minutes, because it was a 1-point game with about 4 minutes to go. So we were right there, but turned the untimely turnovers and missing those shots kind of early in the shot clock and not, going into paint, that's what doomed us from 4 minutes all the way to the end. So, and Barry in the lead, we had a change in the starting lineup. So it looks like KB is still working out who is going to be who, and, because to Eric's point, Alex Cotton only played 13 minutes, and Donis, who was our starting center, only played 13 minutes, and we started with Travell. So I think we're still trying to, KB's trying to figure out who is going to be who and what in the lineup for this team. So,
yeah, I don't know if I consider that Barry in the lead, though. I mean, the only person who thinks that would be the lead is somebody who really loves Danis as our starting center. So, Chip, how do you feel about Danis not starting anymore? Is really the question.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah,
I'm just starting stuff tonight. I'm just saying, bro. You
and he walked right into it too.
You got to be careful, Bison Nation, when you hear Chip Washington say Barry in the lead. It's something he really, really cared about. And I'm like, come on, man. Nobody's writing to the show about whether Danis should start or not. I'm just to your main point. The starting group is changing, which makes it even more interesting that we don't understand how to use our bench, because the stat that stood out to me was we got outscored by the other team's bench. And we have a bench. We actually have the deepest bench we probably had, even including our championship runs a couple of years ago. We went back to back to March Madness tournaments. So it befuddles me. That's my E. Washington word. Like I went to Morehouse. It befuddles me that we have not tapped into or unlocked. I think the way you said it, we haven't unlocked our bench in a way where you can't scout us, because right now you don't know who's going to come off the bench and do the work.
Right.
That's good news, bad news too, right?
It is. It is. That's absolutely is. So I am worried though. So what happens if we drop another conference game to Delaware State? We go 0-3. What are we working on now?
Back to that tournament theory, prepping for the tournament. Yeah, real talk.
We go from with this trying to get to championship to let's just get to a good seed in the tournament.
Yeah, I would even make the argument now, just say it that way. The next one is a must win.
What? Not a must win 3 games in? Must win?
That's a must win. And again, I'm gonna dip back into my NFL wild card weekend bag. Please don't be mad, B. I really wanted Philly to win. Right?
It's okay. There's a whole lot of people in Philly that share your sentiment.
but the reason I reference that is because they have been talking all year about their offensive struggles and this and that, and they had a bunch of must-win moments that they didn't rise to the occasion, unfortunately. So
that's true.
You can't start too early, because same thing. I think they started off hot, just like Howard did. And sometimes that's fool's gold.
Wow. You guys are putting the bulletin board material together now.
I hope that's not the case for us. I'm not saying that, but man, I'm just, like I said, I had to look at those standings and see us at the bottom. You know what I mean? Just like, wow, because the non-conference schedule, as we diced it up, was so encouraging. I'm just, it is since we going with the words, it is a quixotic thing to see.
Oh, quixotic. That was really good. That's a really solid word there. So here's the deal. We had it's been a rough early start for our guys, and it is early, and we also know that the big part of conference play in the MEAC is to get the best seeding possible going into the tournament in March. So all is not lost, but we're still figuring things out. And I do think that as we get ready for the upcoming games, I would like to see us figure out our rotation, and just so we can actually understand how the bench could play more of a role. So once we have a rotation, we can actually start to see the rest of the bench get activated, not just in a losing fashion or towards the end after we've gotten games have gotten out of hand. So, but it was the heartbreak they call it. We Prince Anne is, they stood up and said we're here and we're playing. And shout out to the men's volleyball team. That was the group of guys on the broadcast on the Del Mar Sports Network. They led the chants. They were jumping all around. They're one of the few teams that has a men's volleyball team, but they double as a support group. They're the fanatics, the fanatic fellas, I was calling them while we were watching the broadcast. So shout out to them they're not back in school yet. So it was nice to hear the energy in the building. So, but this is a good recap. This is a good recap, guys. So it's time for over and under reactions after we come back from the break, and we'll get to dive into what else we may be seeing, because you all have primed the pump here a little bit. I can't wait to hear what you're coming back with. So right back after the break. Hey, welcome back. It is time for over and under reactions. I'm your boy B Smooth, still the lover of all things Howard, and lover of all things basketball. We got your boy E Wash, and we got Chip Washington, the visionary, and the guy who wants to lead all of us in getting more poster board material in everybody's locker room wall than anyone else on the show. He's working hard. He's a lover of all things UMES. So everybody from Howard, get at him in the comments. Just, he's trying to be fair and balanced, but he's leaning too far. He's leaning too far right.
It's a good team over there.
Yeah, you like that. You like that. Well, we're into the part of the show that we get a chance to kind of process, synthesize what we're seeing. And so we do have a few moments here where we're going to do some over or under reactions based on the first 2 to 3 games of the season, depending on where you want to go. It's the ladies have played 3 games. They're 2-1. Our guys are 2 games in, and they're winless at this point against the early competition. So who would like to go first with their over or under reaction?
I'll go.
All right.
So again, sticking with the NFL wild card theme,
Wow.
I saw an interview with and bear down. I saw an interview with Ben Johnson, right? And they were talking about is after the game Saturday, and for those who've been paying attention, the Bears have had a lot of come from behind wins. They get criticized for, rightfully so, for not starting off well and blah 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 and all this kind of thing. And at this point, after they finally won a playoff game, he kind of put all that to the side and said, you know what, I'm not even going to go down that usual critique of we got to start off better, we got to do this. He went full Al Davis, just win, baby, just win. And we losing so much, we need to just win.
I totally didn't know where you're going with that. I kind of blacked out after bear down.
Because it's still
after you said bear down, I literally just said at some point we're gonna go to commercial break and I'm gonna figure out what the hell is Steve Washington talking about.
Did I bring it back?
You did.
You came around the corner on me though. I had to look around, be like, what is he talking about? Oh, there it is. There it is. Just win. So talk that. So your underreaction or overreaction? I couldn't tell which one was it. Is it overreaction?
So that was my. You can't underreact to coaching, and you can't overreact to winning.
Do they teach you this at Morehouse? Because I asked a pretty straightforward question.
And the reason I'm trying to harp on the coaching part is because just like the season for us. See, let me give you a San Francisco flower here, right? The thing that we need to do is, regardless of who's in the lineup, produce a result. San Francisco started out with Mac Jones, and there was no drop off in play. And so, the tie-in here is, regardless of who's in the lineup, we got good coaching. We have been recruiting good players. We should be able to mimic the 49ers is all I'm saying.
Okay. Okay.
We got stuff that we should be doing.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna process that one. You got me thinking about it. I like that. Okay. I got you. So go ahead, Chip. See if you got an over/under reaction for us.
I don't know what mine is. I'm just gonna say it, and y'all let me know whether it's over or under reaction. So
there's a disease.
Yes. I know the last show, I think my overreaction was, if we don't play the bench, we ain't doing nothing in the MEAC, which right now looks
we haven't done anything.
Pretty on point.
Yeah.
But
Captain Obvious right here.
And I think why I probably said Barry in the lead in the last segment, the fact that KB took Donis out of the starting lineup showed me that he's willing to try something different. Maybe I've called it an underreaction. Like it's giving me a little hope that he might go into the bench some more, and we'll be okay. So, but like I said, because
I'm gonna have to defend KB here again, and I'm gonna reference a game from 2 years ago where remember it was halftime or something, and he kept somebody out. And
Marcus Dockery.
Yeah, Marcus Dockery. And nobody was expecting.
Shout out to Marcus Dockery, a friend of the show.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. And I just think that represents, he's always had that ability. So I think, Chip, you are engaging in borderline slander.
Borderline?
Hey, this is over under reaction. That's what
it's over under reaction. It's got to have a little bit of, it has to be right up next to the line of slander for it to be pretty good. Otherwise,
yeah. I wouldn't say it in recaps. I wouldn't say it in recaps and analysis.
Right. It's not non-reaction. It's over under reaction, not non-reaction.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Okay. I'm following now. So you okay? You're defending things that don't need to be defended.
All right. Okay.
I'm gonna need you to bear down and listen. Okay. You like that? You like that one?
I do like that.
Yeah. So I got a couple then, because you guys you're throwing softballs out here on over under reactions. I got to get you back in your feelings. So I told you I'd come back because in your recaps you were telling me it's just about the free throws and it's not getting out coached, and I want to come back because my overreaction for the ladies is that we do not have a solid answer at point guard yet.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying we don't have players. I'm not saying that Ariella Hennigan isn't a really good player. Kenwood's finest, Chicago's finest. While she's developing into a D1 player, right? Shout out to Chicago. While she's developing into a D1 player, her development path is coming with some loss of consistency and really floor general needs on the point position. And so for me, my overreaction is until we stabilize what we need from the point guard play, we're going to have trouble in our seeding for the tournament. Because right now, every team that is going against us knows that if it's not in Zoe's hands and if it's not in Zennia's hands, it's open season. And when you see some of those turnovers we had, the uncharacteristic ones, is because everybody knows that we don't have anybody who settles down the game and doesn't turn the ball over when it comes to bringing that ball up the floor. Okay. So that's my overreaction is until we stabilize point guard play for the ladies, we should expect some up and down results as we're stacking days and trying to figure out our identity. Because we play defense, we rebound pretty well, we shoot when we shoot well, we shoot really well, but we don't have somebody who's controlling that flow and getting people into spots to score. And that's my overreaction for the ladies. Now for the men. I feel like it's I'm not going to do the single shot on this one because it'd be too funny for me and I won't get through without laughing. But you remember You remember Color Purple? Until you do right, you know that claw. Until you play people that are over 6'9" on the bench against all the big dudes in the MEAC, you will not win a lot of games. Coach KB, Coach Nate, everybody else. We can be cute all you want to. We shoot okay. We're not the best 3-point shooting team that we used to be. We have decent scoring, but it's at us. We compromise the ability to score with size. And everybody who's taking it to us has got big dudes in the middle to make it hard for us to get around them. And we don't make them move all over the court. They stay right up under that basket and they punch it down on our forehead. Ask Bryce Harris. He's the leading scorer. He's the leading scorer in the MEAC, you know, and at 18 points a game. But these last several games, he's had mustered maybe 7 points. You know, not many. And so they're figuring out that he likes to score down low. Guess what they do? Put a big dude down low and say, if you can get up over top of me, you'll score. But we're gonna need to figure that out. And we got size that can help us out on there. I'm not that I'm a fan of, you know, Julian Johnson and all these guys. I think they all can play. I said all the size needs to be used to go against that because we got to neutralize the size to do what we want to do. And that's my overreaction, because if we don't figure that out, there's a lot more games that we're going to fight at the end trying to get in there because we want to take it to the basket. And if we don't outrun them, it's coming back at us. They're blocking everything down low.
Okay. Well, that makes me kind of want to ask, go back in my Be Smooth bag here and ask you what you asked Chip. Does that mean, or how do you feel about Donis not playing? Like he was like, oh yeah, I'm good with it, you know.
So I asked him about starting, and I don't think he's ready to start because I don't think he understands that everybody's going to come for him because he's the only size we present when it comes to somebody you expect to play down low. Now, if Donis was going to impress me, and it's going to be hard to impress me, he can shoot. I have not seen him take shots that make you say, man, I got to come out and stick this dude. At 6'9", he can shoot 3-pointers. He can shoot a mean jump shot. He has not done that. If he can shoot a little bit just to clear the space, I need him to just get the big dudes to come follow him outside so we can do work down low. So he doesn't draw anybody out for him offensively. And when he's on defense, he looks like a deer in the headlights because these are grown men coming at him, and they putting the hot sauce on the shoulder and putting it right down on him and say, hey, you're going to taste this. I'm coming right to the basket. So he needs to learn that. And I think coming off the bench can help him understand the flow of the game because the intensity is different. Like even in non-conference play versus now, it's much more intense where every shot they're coming down, every possession they're coming down, trying to see how can I get to your weakest part of your team. If you look like you're not ready, they're going to come after you. And what KB is doing is keeping it from being, taken advantage of right now. He's a freshman.
Where would you say he is? Because in some ways, as I was listening, it kind of touches on some of the old Euro player stereotypes, right? But then if you sort of modernize that look, and I'm thinking, Joker, and as compared to maybe somebody like Peja Stojakovic for the Kings, he did have size, but I still saw him as someone that kind of just drifted around the perimeter and waited for kickouts, as opposed to I got a little bit of a bag at least, and I can do some side steps. I can put the ball on the floor a couple of times. I don't know where he is, and that's my question to you. Do you think he has?
I think he's so Chip's pointed this out before. He's a freshman. He's still growing into his man muscles, right? He's probably got a few more days in the gym to get his size up a little bit so he can compete and not feel like he's getting pushed around. I need to see his offseason really to see if he's going to project to where he needs to be. I think he's got skill. He's got a high IQ where you can see plays that he sees, but they are still a little too slow to act on. So he'll be trying to pass a ball that, anybody else might see and he might get it there on time. But if it's just a little bit late, it looks like a turnover. Yeah. And so he's still trying to figure out the pace of playing in the United States. And he's not playing against other 17, 18-year-old guys. He's playing against like 23, 24, 25-year-olds. So he's playing against people who they're going to grow him up fast. And I think that he has to in my mind, he has to be able to go through the fire of, playing at a D1 level. And I think by not starting, he'll actually learn a lot more, because the pressure to perform right off the tip, again, like a deer in headlights right now. There's going to be a few games where if we don't have size, there's a problem. There's very few teams without size, because everybody knows they need big people. Any game where we got somebody that's all 6'6" and below, I think he's going to shine. I think he'll shine really, really well. But as soon as you see somebody else that's 6'8", 6'9", or higher, and they got about 50 pounds on them muscle.
Yeah. All right. Well, since we backseat coaching, let me get another question. Do you think
that's what we do?
Right? Do you think that whatever way we start emphasizing the use of size will detract from Bryce's offense? Given that
it's a great question, and I've thought about it, because we keep trying to have Bryce play out of position, because he's our size. Like, we play him like he's a 4. He's a guard. He's a 6'4", 220 guard, but he plays bigger than that because he can get up and down. He started down low, like Dunk Master Flex and all the other players. But he has that. I can get around the rim. I can dunk on anybody, so that makes me a good low post player. But in these last few games, when he's been faced with playing somebody his size, his in terms of weight or stature, but he gives up 5 to 6 inches on, they've made it, his scoring has gone down. So I think if we have somebody who can play, with the big boys down low, I think Bryce becomes a much more effective scorer, because now he like, there's a couple of plays he had on Saturday where he was wide open by himself. And that has, in the 4 or 5 years I've seen him play, I've only seen him wide open a couple of times.
Right.
Because with Cedric Taylor, drawing attention, and if we can get Travell Bryson to keep playing like he's playing, they're drawing attention. That opens the floor. We just need somebody that can either bring the big man out from below so Bryce can go to work down low, or we need somebody to keep them occupied so Bryce can, he can have a lot more scoring prowess when it comes to everybody. He can't be double teamed, and he can't be ganged up on and below the rim, because everybody just stands there. They don't think they have to go out and play defense.
And I think he does have a versatile enough, to your point. I don't know at what point in the research I saw this, and I don't know if it's accurate, but I think I saw him listed as a guard for the first time, and it got my attention because I don't remember Bryce. I thought he was always listed as a forward, so it got my attention. I was like, guard.
Yeah, but he's always listed as a guard. Okay. Always played out of position. Because we've had some decent point guards where they were all like 5'10" or lower. But he had to play. He could handle the ball. He could shoot. Right? But he also had enough size to play down low.
Yeah, he seems like he has enough quivers in arrows in his quiver to, as we change it up. Sound like I'm answering my own question. He can shoot the ball. He can handle the ball. He can score down low. He can score from the perimeter. So I guess maybe, hopefully, whatever adjustments we end up making, it won't take away from his effectiveness.
Yeah, well, I think he's adaptable is probably the best way I would say it, and I think he will thrive as long as he knows that everybody else is doing what they need to do. Like, they're just now finally getting their rhythm, as you all mentioned earlier in the recaps, where they're just now starting to play a few people consistently. So you're starting to see a nucleus form of the team. He's very much a part of that, but it's also still in this part of the season, you try stuff and you figure it out. I just think that this stretch of him not scoring much is probably something that I would just pay attention to say, does it pick up or not, because of what we're changing in the structure of the rotation, not, is he just missing shots? Because I think that's not the case at all. He's going to be a quality player, and he's going to figure it out, and we don't have to worry about that. I just think that we need to figure out the size problem, because we're going to keep going against people that are bigger and a little more athletic, and if we don't play the size we have, I think we're going to have a hard time, breaking 500 in the regular season.
Wow.
But that's why we have over and under reactions. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hanging out with us. This is Bison Brothers Basketball Podcast.
Well played, sir.
We've had a great recap show here. Before we get out of here, though, we should talk about what we're looking forward to, and and that way Chip can wrap us up here. So what are we looking forward to? Just real quick, going around the horn. Anybody got something they're looking forward to as we get into the next week of conference play?
Well, I am definitely looking forward to the Morehouse game, and dipping back into the big Joker paradigm, and it has kind of set me on some non-basketball segues that I think are going to be, if not good for basketball, good for the show.
I love it. I did ask a young man, Tyler Lewis, who's a budding sports writer. That's a student. He's a sophomore, junior at Morehouse. I was talking to him today. I think I'm going to get him to come on the recap show that day. So you'll have another Morehouse guy on the call. Right. So I'll get you some more Morehouse help.
Okay.
Heard is better in numbers when you go down south like that. So that's cool. But yeah, he's excited to come on the show and talk about it. He's still reeling from Cedric deciding to leave Morehouse and come to the promised land. But that's cool. We'll have that on. So yeah, Morehouse is coming up. We do have a quick matchup tomorrow night but by the time you listen to this, we'll have played that game with the men will play Delaware State. So we're looking forward to, hopefully getting a W and our first win of the season. Just win, baby, win, as you would say, Eric. And before we get to the Morehouse game, there is a double header that I'll be attending in person in Durham, North Carolina, Fayetteville Street. We're heading down to see North Carolina Central play against the Howard Bison. And as I told you before, their atmosphere is electric. And I can't wait to hear all the fans from 8 to 80 yelling in unison, whoop that trick, whoop that trick, whoop that trick. If I can get it on audio and video, best believe it'll be part of the recap show. So you think I'm lying, just wait. I can't wait to go just so I can see that part. That's my favorite part of hanging out with them. And getting home safely, because they get a little wild down there sometimes. So but yeah, I'm excited about that. But anybody else, Chip, anything else you're excited about, bro?
Just, we have the luxury of looking way down the road and not the teams, but the January 31st Norfolk game for the women. I'm looking forward to that because
circle.
They were
that's your circle. That's your circle moment.
That's my circle. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I love it. I need you to pay attention. You track this better than me, but I want to see if our mid-major ranking with the ladies moves around at all. Because I know we're sitting at 2021 as of the last time I looked at it, but that's a burning question for me. So this is the one for the Bison fans that made it to this far in the show. One last plea to get out to your comments. Do you think that the mid-major ranking is going to our heads and not allow us to focus on our opponents in the MEAC? What are you thinking? Hit us in the comments. Let us know.
That's a good one, B.
Hit that like button.
Provocative is what we do. Okay, so Chip, why don't you get us out of here, man? Tell people what they got to do next. All right.
Bison Nation, as you have just taken in this show, and now you've gotten even more. You got smarter about the MEAC and the Bison. Now it should just encourage you to continue to support these championship teams. And you could do that in so many ways. You can do it at themechasociety.org, at hubison.com, and fanstake.com. Go to the games. We're in the heat, the thick of the conference play. We need to see you at the games, on the road, and especially at the Burr. And as always, please tell everybody about this podcast. You see the provocative questions, the discussions that we have. Comment, like, share the podcast. Tell everybody about it. You can hear us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and you can interact with us on Instagram at Bison Brothers Basketball. So do all those things. We continue to thank you for listening to the show. And we're gonna end this show as I bring the co-host back. And y'all know how we do. We're gonna end this provocative show like we end all of our shows. And that's H-U.
You know.